Hi guys, welcome back to IELTS Master. This is video number 32 and we are continuing to talk about writing task 1 in the IELTS. In the previous video, we were talking about trends, right? The verbs and the nouns in order to describe the trends and how we can possibly look at the graph, the chart and understand the data before we actually start writing. In this video, we will talk about something else, which is comparing information. So comparing, is it higher or lower? Is it more or less? Is it much or less? Alright? Something like that. That is all about comparison. In terms of contents, today we will talk about two things only. Comparing information and then the adverbs that will help you when you are trying to compare two things together. That's it. Compare and then the adverbs for comparison. Let's start first with comparing information. What I have here for you is a bar chart. And look at the title. What does it say in the title anyway? The title said, most important inventions in the last 300 years. Okay? Most important invention. What's the most important invention? How many are there? Let's say one is the bicycle and the car, the computer, and the mobile phone, the radio, the internet, and finally the TV. So these are some of the most important inventions. And they did a survey asking people what they think is the most important. Now, the answers are classified between male and female, boys and girls, man and woman. That's it. So the green column represents the male. And the blue column represents the female. Male, female. That's it. Now, if you look here, you will see that basically we can see a very big difference between bicycle and all of these things, right? Now, what we have to do now is to try to compare the information. But before we can compare, we need some comparing structure. Recall the knowledge that you have on comparison. You must have learned a lot of lessons on comparison. Comparative and then superlative and then equal comparison, something like that. So let's do a little review right now. For comparative, you can say more males than females chose TV, or fewer females than males chose TV. These two sentences are the same thing. We simply change the word more with the word fewer. Or you can say there was the TV was more popular among males than females. Or you can say the most popular form of communication was the internet. So here we are using the superlative. And remember, when you say most, there is the most, right? The most popular, the most prevalent, the most widely chosen, something like that. Right, the best one. You can also use the equal comparison structure. For example, I said, as many females as males chose the computer. That means the same number between females and males. Or you can say, not as many females as males. This means this means fewer females than males. Alright? Not as many as means fewer. So we can see that we got lots of different structure for comparison. We can use comparative, more or less, and then superlative, the most, and then equal comparison, like as. Okay, time for practice. So now we're going back to the graph, the bar chart that you saw in the second slide. What you have to do now is to fill in the blank here with an appropriate word. So what's the word? More males, females chose the bicycle. We are looking at the bicycle, right? Females. And on the right hand is, on the left column is the male. So what's the word? It must be then. More females than males chose the bicycle. Next one, very simple. The car was popular among females. It's more or less. So now we're going to take a look at the car, right? The car here, see the number, what's the answer? It has to be less. less popular among females, only a small number, than males, a higher number. Next one. Now, I have some key words. I want you to write a complete sentence. Males, female chose the car, right? So I have the car here, and we're gonna take a look at the car. The car. So what are you gonna write? Males and females? More males or fewer males than females? What is your answer? This is it. We can say more males than females chose the car, right? More males than females chose the car. This can be one answer. Next one, we have the internet choose males, females. I want you to start the sentence now with the internet. I don't want you to start with more males than females. I want you to start with the internet. So how are you going to do this? Look at the internet. This is the internet, right? And if we start with the internet, we have to use the passive voice. The internet was chosen by more males than female, and this is important, was chosen by, alright? Now we have comparison, and we can choose between the active voice and the passive voice. Remember, when you use passive voice, go with the right structure. To be and the past participle, right? Next. Now we'll talk about the adverbs that you can use in comparison. When you're comparing, you don't just want to talk about the numbers. You may want to emphasize the number. Like in the first video, we use some adverbs to describe a trend, or like dramatically, or steadily, or gradually. For comparison, we also have lots of different adverbs. For example, I can say significantly more people, or considerably more people, or I can say substantially less time, or slightly. Alright? So these four, significantly, considerably, substantially, and slightly, it refers to the amount, the degree by which there's a difference. Significant, considerably, and substantially means big gap. There's a big difference between two things. And slightly means there is a very small difference, right? We can also use emphatic word with comparison, like there are far fewer, or it's much less common. So far here doesn't actually mean far, it only means much. So far fewer or much less or far less, same thing. Finally, you can use words like practically, or almost, or nearly. That means all of them means almost the same in number. And normally we use these with equal comparison. Practically as many people, almost as many males as females, and nearly as many children as adults, right? Now these are for comparative structure. And these are for equal comparison, right? Remember the adverb. So now I want you to listen and repeat with me one time. Now, here we go. Significantly, considerably, substantially, slightly, far, much, practically, almost, nearly. Okay, adverbs are very simple for you to use while you're comparing. Now let's go back to the exercise that you actually did. Now this is what you did. You had some keywords and then you wrote a sentence. Now I want you to add an adverb. Where will the adverb go? Right? You do an adverb and you think about the position. So where does the adverb go? It can go here. Substantially more males than females. We say substantially more males than females, alright? We don't say more males substantially than female, but substantially more males than females. Next one. The internet was chosen by more males than females. Where does the adverb go? Now this is going to be tough. Answer here. It always goes before the word more. Slightly more males than females. Alright? Slightly. This is just a very little difference. Alright? So we say slightly. That's it. Very simple. So in the previous video, we were talking about how to compare information. You look at the differences. Which structure are you going to use? More or less or fewer or the most or the equal comparison. And then when you are doing the comparison, you may want to add an adverb in order to emphasize your opinion, your idea or your observation. That's it. That's enough for this lesson. I think you should review all of the information and then do the exercises that follow in order to enhance your writing skill when you're comparing data in Task 1. Thank you very much. I'm gonna see you in the next video.